And thanks so much for being with us. And we have President and Commissioner of the NBHL, Anthony Sanrocco, joining us. Anthony, welcome.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
So walk me through a little bit about your involvement with the NBHL, and
So,
um, and then we'll get into a little bit of the Charlotte, North Carolina area and their success that they had in the Carolina Tier 3 division last year.
so I'm one of the co-founders of the league. It was myself, my brother Gianni, and my buddy TJ. The three of us started the league as, originally it was a 4-on-4 league in South Jersey. That started in 2015, and it's just grown bit by bit by bit to getting to the point we're at now, where we're the National Ball Hockey League. We officially became the National Ball Hockey League in early 2020. We formed the LLC and we were going to have our first season in 2020, but COVID obviously prevented that from happening. But
Mhm.
we launched the NBHL our first year in 2021, and now we're entering year 3.
That's great. So I had a chance to send you some information regarding the Charlotte Street Hockey League and what we've been up to. Um, and of course, on the newsletter and the director of that, I also know a lot of the guys from playing a lot of the pickup and stuff like that. So I've gotten to know them. Well, last year was certainly something special for a first year team that put really not until January did they really have anything solid put together. Competed in a great league in the great division in the spring and in summer, and then had to beat the Surge to get to the Mila Cup, and then getting to the Mila Cup to win that. Tell me about what type of achievement that really was in
It
your league.
was amazing. It's possibly the best storyline of the year we had last year. Just beginning to end, the whole thing is just fantastic because obviously they put the team together, having you know playing on that tennis court, not really having the league background that a lot of other areas have that compete in the NBHL. They go to the Carolina division, compete with those teams, have a great season. The way they won that division, I remember the night it happened, it was the games got super backed up. So they were playing at
Mhm.
like 1 or 2 in the morning.
Right.
And their captain, Josh Greco, came up clutch, scored the game winner in overtime. The video was awesome. The celebration was awesome. Like it was so cool. And they deserved it. They played an unreal season. Then, I mean, from my perspective, I'm hanging out at the Milak Cup, waiting for teams to show up, and we're checking our Instagram and getting all these notifications for this team partying on a bus, and we're like, "What the hell is going on here?" And I text Josh. I'm like, "Josh, what are you guys doing?" He's like, "Yeah, we just got a party bus. It was the best way to
Right.
get us all there." And
Right.
it pulled up, and everybody was coming up to me like, "Ant, who's on the bus? Like, what's going on?" And I'm like, "Ah, that's the Charlotte team. They're they're having a weekend here. They're gonna have a good time."
Right.
So they came. They played Saturday. They did really well, and they everybody was impressed with them. But I know the Potsdam team that they played in the finals got the better of them on Saturday. I think they lost 4-0 to
Correct.
them.
That's correct.
So, you know, they didn't go into Sunday discouraged. Obviously, they went in, I think, with motivation to get some revenge on them, and I think they got the matchup they wanted. And again, Josh scored the game winner. It was an awesome
There's
goal. He
very
slid.
similar to the one, very similar type of situation, right?
Yeah,
They even
yeah,
get
yeah.
to the Mile Cup, right?
It was
Right.
it was very close. I think he slid like 75 feet on the rink on his knee celebrating. It was so funny.
Yep.
um,
Absolutely.
but I mean, when they won, like it was like an emotional thing. Like it was just like even the video we still have it pinned on our Instagram as one of our top posts because
Hmm.
the way they celebrate is just amazing. And the one I forget the player's name, but he's running up and down the rink, going like this, and the whole bench hops the boards, and they're just it was just amazing. And
Right.
even their semifinal game against the Burger Boys from San Francisco,
It's Jim
they
Bateman, by the way, that did that.
is that who that? Okay, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So that over the game leading up to the finals, I believe they won in overtime as well, and that was also an amazing game too. Like it was just overtime winner to get to the Miley Cup, overtime winner to get to the final, getting
Hmm.
revenge on the team that you lost to on Sunday or
Exactly.
Saturday. Like it was just a great story. And I mean, I think there's like 32 teams in Tier 3 last year. So it's a pretty big accomplishment. I mean, it's a huge league. And this year I think we're at 41 or 42 teams. So it got even bigger this year. But yeah, I mean, it was one of the best storylines of the entire season. It was really, really fun to watch from our perspective. And I think it was great for the league too, having a team from Carolina win. It's not a lot of people were too familiar with the Carolina ball hockey scene, so
Hmm.
I know people were pretty intrigued by it, and I know their story. USA Ball Hockey posted some stuff about it, and a lot of people really acknowledged how well they did. So it was awesome. They earned it. They're a great team, and I think they got a little target on their back this year.
Absolutely. And in addition to that, there will be another team from the Charlotte area called the Rise that will be joining the Tier 3 division this year. And I'm not going to say that it's the Queen City Crowns team is split in half, because it's really not quite like that. There's a lot of great players within the CSHL and the Charlotte Street Hockey League, some of which couldn't make the team last year, as you probably knew. They couldn't make it. There was only so many spots available. And with an opening this year, now that there is another team, and it's not like it's going to be an A team and a B team. These are going to be two really really good teams. I know a lot of these guys. I see them almost every week in terms of what they play, and I follow them. And I think it's just going to be great to see two different teams competing with the Squall and the Surge again.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how they do. Mike Steckler, who's heading that team,
Correct.
I've only spoken with him on the phone and talked to him a couple times, but he's sent some pretty confident emails saying like we expect to be at the Mile Cup and stuff like that. So the guy he has all the confidence in the world in that team, and if it's any reflection of the skill level the Crown showed us, are going to be a really good team. There's no reason why it can't be an extremely competitive 4-team league. And again, like the new teams come in, it's new players, people who haven't experienced the NBHL before. So on our end, we don't really know what we're going to see.
Hmm.
But based on the off-season things that have gone out there between the tryouts and the practices, and
Exactly.
I mean, we see the videos sent our way of them, running drills and all that. Like they're
Yep.
taking it very seriously, and
Yeah.
um, I mean, they're setting the bar high for a new team, and I think they're going to be extremely competitive. And you know, competitive. We don't know how they're going to do, but
Hmm.
Charlotte's shown they got skill, so we'll see what happens.
Games start toward the end of May. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's when's the first day? I can pull it up real quick. Yeah, it's on May 21st is our opening day.
Okay. Yeah. And games are going to be a little different this year. They're going to be on Sundays. Is that correct?
I I forget. I know there's no night games. I think they are all Sundays this year.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
Sundays. Okay. Good to know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little more convenient scheduling. The Quad State Hooligans who were in the division last year aren't coming back for this
Correct.
season.
Yeah.
So gives a little more flexibility with the
Sure.
schedule,
Yeah.
making teams not have to stay overnight and all that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, there'll be marathon days on Sundays, but yeah, they'll be all on Sundays this year.
Two games each, or is it more than that? Is it
I, it'll be three. I think every team will
three
play
games?
every team
Okay.
every week, and they'll
Okay.
have their regular season will be 9 games
Got
because
it.
just ease of schedule. You play each team 3 times,
So it'll be
and
three separate months. Correct.
yep, yeah, yep. May,
Okay.
June, July, and then I think late July is when their playoffs will be, and it'll just
Right.
be a the semifinal round will be single loss, and then the finals will be a best of three.
Awesome. Awesome. Very good. So as you know, the CSHL is in the process of finding our own rink, multiple rinks, at least maybe one or two different rinks. So we're working on that. CEO Josh Greco is working on that. He's got a task of people that are on calls every other week, looking at different places around the Charlotte area. I think the goal at this point is an outdoor facility of at least one, maybe two. So that's exciting. We think that's coming down the pike. So we've been at this now for about a year, and looking for a facility in the Charlotte area instead of playing on a tennis court, which we're going to transition from anyway in the not too distant future. So it's exciting. It's really exciting. I'm from New York, so coming down here, I'm from the Rochester area. So coming down here and being with a bunch of guys, and now in the Carolina division from all different areas, all different hockey hotbeds that have made their way down here. What can you tell me about the outlook of this division and maybe even Charlotte in terms of growth? Could maybe Charlotte in the next year or two be poised to have its own, maybe its own division separate from um, any other teams in its division?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, going from one to two teams is the growth that we like to see. And there are other areas I can compare to Charlotte that have gone from one team to two teams to three teams in the NBHL that are getting closer to having their own divisions as well. So it's definitely not out of the question. I think getting that rink is a huge step in that direction and a necessary step because it would be tough to play on the rinks that they have. I know the one rink that is in Charlotte is really small, and we discussed having NBHL games there last year,
Yeah,
but it was just it was the dimensions just weren't big
yeah,
enough for what we were
yeah,
looking to do.
yeah.
But getting that rink is going to it'll bring so many more people into the fold, and it'll bring so many, like it'll create make the CSHL
Mhm.
bigger,
Yeah,
bigger,
sure.
and it'll just bring more players to the game in general. So yeah, I think Charlotte's on a great path, and the game's going a lot there, and I think the Crown's winning helped that a ton. I like to think that it did,
Hmm.
and yeah, with the leaders who are in place there, they're all doing the right thing. So yeah, for us, it's exciting to see a place like Charlotte grow into what it's growing into.
Did you really expect that though last year? I mean, what were your expectations? So, what are your expectations of a new team coming in to replace maybe a different team, um, or just growth in general? I mean, are there any expectations within the league when that happens?
Last year, they're really like we didn't really know what was going to happen because that was our first tier three. So we were pulling together a lot of skill levels all over the country. We weren't sure how they were going to mesh, how the competitive level was going to be, in California versus Carolina versus, Philadelphia. Like there's just so many different tier threes that we added. And, I guess just seeing them all come together in Jersey was really cool because the games were close. Like the skill level was really close. And,
Hmm.
and seeing them expand is what we hope to see. We don't necessarily expect it, but we hope with the NBHL we provide a product in a league that people are like, oh, I that looked fun. I saw those games. I want to be a part of that.
Hmm.
And seeing the rise enter the league it's exactly what we hope would happen. And I wouldn't say there's any expectation for them or really anybody. It's just, we just want the games to be competitive and, them to enjoy it and, want to keep playing ball hockey, not even
Sure.
necessarily in the NBHL, just keep playing the sport and keep getting more people involved. So, um, like I said before, Charlotte's just in a really good place and the growth from year one to year two is great. And we hope it continues into next year.
For those that are not familiar with how the league is structured, meaning the NBHL, can you walk us through what determination is made in terms of who goes into what tier, tier three versus tier two, and all that? What determination is made to, you know, have the team be just in one division?
Right. So, I mean, each division is put into a tier. So, like the Carolina division's tier three. Pittsburgh has a tier one division and a tier two division.
Okay,
Texas is tier three. So it really depends on your area and the ball hockey landscape they have there.
got it.
For example, like the tier one is Buffalo, Massachusetts, Pittsburgh, and New Jersey. If you look at the U.S. men's national team, 95% of the players are from those four areas and play in those four divisions. So it's the highest skill. It's the people that have been playing in youth league since they were 5 years old, and
Hmm.
it's just ingrained in them from just a long period of time. Tier two is a mix of you know the high skilled players and newer players to the game and players who've been around a long time but maybe don't play in A tournaments in that level. And then when we get to tier three, we were just kind of a lot of it was putting divisions there. We weren't really sure of their
Yeah,
skill level.
yeah.
Maybe we've seen one or two teams at a tournament because that's really how we evaluate this is we have a salary cap that values certain players at certain points, but it really affects the tier one mostly, tier two a little bit, tier three a little bit, but tier one it really has the biggest effect on. Whereas tier two and three, we look at tournaments teams have played in, how they've fared in those, and then it also goes to what we see year to year. Like right now, Carolina's a tier three. There's no reason we can't move them up to tier two sometime
Okay,
soon. Like the skill
okay.
level's increasing. Like it's just kind of based on what we see, and we have conversations between us on the NBHL side, us with the directors of the divisions, with captains, and just kind of get a gauge on it. And it's not like we have the final say. Like it's a group decision and we collectively decide like what's best for the area. If they're ready to move up to that next step and play the higher level competition in tier two in a year or two, then we would do that. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's all just based on past events and a lot of the newer divisions too. Like we added Indiana this year as a new division and we added them in tier three because we haven't really seen Indiana in tournaments. We don't really know how they're
Hmm.
going to do. So if they look like they're competing at a higher level, maybe we move them up, but it's kind of a wait and see and just go from there.
That's great. That's good to know. Um, Tell me, with the communication you have with the rest of the individuals in the NBHL and USA ball hockey, um, how far are we from making this an Olympic sport?
It's hard to say. I hear conversations all the time about I forget the qualification exactly, but you need to have X amount of member nations that have a like what USA Ball Hockey is like an entity for the sport that kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
manages it. And I forget what the number is to get consideration, but I know ball hockey is on its way to getting there. I don't know the ins and outs of getting it there, but I know that's like the collective goal of the sport. All the people at USA Ball Hockey, all the people at the International Street and Ball Hockey Federation or the ISBHF you might see on social media, that's what they're pushing for. So we're moving in that direction. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I know it's the ultimate goal right now.
That's great. Tell me about the involvement of the women's game, ladies being involved.
I mean, what was it? A couple months ago, we just watched the first ever women's team win a gold medal overseas, which was
Hmm.
incredible. It was so cool. The Masters team won over, I think it was Czech Republic. They won it, and the women's game. We for the on the NBHL side, we connected with the UWBHF, which is the United Women's Ball Hockey Foundation, towards the end of our beginning season. And I didn't know a ton about women's ball hockey at that time. I'm still learning a lot, but they were able to educate me, inform me about how to do the league and how to create divisions in the NBHL that are fair. And they were a huge part of that. And Jen Free is the women's commissioner from 2021 or 2022. I'm sorry. She was amazing. She's not working with us this year. But she was huge in helping that grow. And what we see in the NBHL is we've seen a lot of new players come into the sport. It's been really great. And a lot of the veteran players that play on the national level have more experience, have been really great about teaching them the fundamentals and growing them as players throughout the season. And there's tournaments all over for women's ball hockey now. There was just one in Nashville, which was a first of its kind, which was run by Ball Hockey Boot Camp. They're an amazing organization. And even USA Ball Hockey now, they have their Future Stars program that creates ball hockey teams for, I think it's U16, U14. I forget the actual age brackets, but they have women's tournament teams from different states competing each other in a circuit, and it's a great spot, and it's like it is in Charlotte. Everything's just more people are getting involved, more people are playing, and the sport's in a really good spot.
That's great. Now, getting back to the crowns and the rise, we are having a um, preseason spectacular, if you will, at our Ballantyne YMCA rink on May 6th. And we hope that we can get notoriety out through the NBHL for that. We'd like to be able to send pics and video of that if possible. But that's going to be a really, really big day because that's going to be the first day really that a lot of friends and family and just fans of the game can come out and see these two teams in action for the really the first time in their uniforms or whatever, practice jerseys or whatever, and get a feel for their talent level as they get ready for the season just a couple weeks after that. So it's going to be an exciting time for us. We're trying to publicize it as much as possible. So we look forward to sharing that with you if that's okay.
Oh yeah, send us everything. We'll post it on our socials, and we'll have a weekly newsletter we send out this year. We'll put information about it in there. We're doing a lot more stuff this year with media and having articles written on the website so we can get a write up on the website. So yeah, you send us whatever you got and we'll promote it because it's awesome. It's something, I mean, we've talked about, and it just, I guess it's kind of tough with the landscape of how the league works, but having preseason events like this is great for just kind of getting everybody comfortable, getting people started, and introducing people to the style of play and the level of play. Because it's, from what we've seen, it's generally higher than a lot of the leagues local. Like people kind of, amp it up a notch. So it's a great idea. It's a great thing that's happening. And yeah, we'll do whatever we can to help, blow it up, put it everywhere.
Luckily, the CSHL has youth leagues. So those youth leagues are the feeder. Naturally, hopefully, that's our goal, right? Is to feed into our adult leagues. And do you see that other divisions or other areas of the country have a similar type of system? Because I guess the concern would be is, or would be, could this ever come to an end? Is it just going to reach a level where these players get older and there's not enough people to take their place?
I find that most divisions either have youth programs or are working towards creating them. It's definitely a big push right now. And even, I mean, USA Ball Hockey's done a ton for youth ball hockey around the country with just standardizing everything with rule books. And they've done amazing stuff. And then, like, even the NHL Street just just announced, and we're still figuring out how they're going to handle everything. But that's a huge level of validation for the sport, and it's going to get more people playing. But I mean, speaking for myself personally, like I grew up in South Jersey. I started playing street hockey when I was 5 years old, and I mean, all the guys in the New Jersey divisions. Well, not all of them, I guess. We're starting to see more ice hockey and roller hockey players jump in, but the teams are generally run and composed of players that played growing up, played in these
Yeah,
youth programs. So
yeah.
it's a huge part of it, and it's important to sustain the sport in the NBHL long term.
All right. Thank you so much, Anthony. Any last closing remarks about what we're trying to do here in Charlotte with the rise and the Crowns and where we're headed in the Tier 3 division, the Carolina division?
I mean, I love what they're doing. I think it's really cool, and I love the growth we've seen. I love adding a second team. This event's great. Hopefully, some of those youth players get out and get to watch it and be like, "Hey, I want to do this someday." Like it's all moving in the right direction. I can't wait to see how it goes. I can't wait to show it off to everybody else. And um, yeah, I really appreciate what's going on in Charlotte. I think it's just amazing all around, and it's going to be a good year. It's going to be a great year of hockey.
Thank you so much, Anthony Sanrocco, the president and commissioner of the NBHL. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank
Good
you.
luck to you.
Thanks, Mark.
Bye bye.